Yeah, good morning. Welcome to the Urban Heat R&B Talk on the Tuesday. Steve Gooseby here. Sorry for the delay, y'all. Got my boy CeeLos. He's going to be on in a few minutes. And let me just get this out the way here. Yeah, that's that Kim record right there, man. Number one on the charts, by the way. Yeah, good morning. I tell you though, the weather, magnificent. If you like hot weather, we don't often get it here in Boston. And if you live here all your life, for most of your life, you know what it is. So I'll say this: anyone who's not happy today, or anyone who's angry, is just no way you could walk around with an attitude with this type of weather. You got to go out there and enjoy yourself, enjoy life, enjoy the summer. It is happening in Boston, and weather-wise for today, you're looking at temperatures going up to about 90. And let's see. Tomorrow, make sure I got this right because this is Boston. Want to make sure I'm not looking at any other state or city. Here we go. All right. So today we're looking at 90 degrees. Tomorrow, Wednesday, you're talking 94. And on Thursday, they're talking 102 degrees. 102. 99 on Friday, 96 on the 4th. Thunderstorms expected, though, so you watch out for that. It's just looking gravy. It's looking very good. Again, anyone walking around with an attitude, you got to take that. Just don't bring that energy around me, because I'm telling you right now, and we'll just leave it right there. Beautiful weather in the city of Boston. Again, if you're from here and you know what the winters are like, and you know what the weather can be like as well. It's 100 degrees today. Tomorrow it could be 50. That's just how it is here. So anyways, today's show, it's all about music. We're going to talk about the entertainment business. If you are an artist, yep, we want you to stay locked in. If you're a producer, writer, a musician, whatever you are, we're going to get into all of that. If you're in the TV, we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about who is CeeLos. He's going to be on the show in a minute, but we're going to find out who he is. He's done a lot of work. He does a lot of things in the background. A lot of times people are in the business, and even folks looking in on the other end, normally you look at the stars or the people who are on stage doing the rapping or doing the singing, and oftentimes that looks good. That's a good look, right? You look good. You're a star. You're famous, or you're trying to achieve that status. And it looks like you're just having a lot of fun and life is good. And sometimes it is, but a majority of the time it's not. So we're going to talk about that. But also, it's the people in the back. It's the people you don't see often. Those are the people getting paid. Those are often the people. Those are the people that survive the industry, and they're in the business for a long, long time. Because whether you're a writer, whether you're an engineer or a producer or just somebody of importance. It could be the makeup artist. Makeup artists make a lot of money. It's not always the person on stage. And, we'll use a makeup artist as an example. You working with one artist today, you work with them for years, and then you got other clients. You can have 10 clients, get fired by one, and you're still good. And that's the thing about the industry too. If you're great at what you do, and matter of fact, that goes with any skill, any job. If you're great at what you do, if you're the best at it, you could be a hairstylist. Oh man, she does hair like, I want her. That happens, right? As long as you're the best at what you do, you're good. You're always gonna be good. All right. Believe me when I say that. So let's talk a little bit about the BET Awards. All right. And I want to talk to CeeLos about this too. We're going to get into that real quick. So the BET Awards, actually, I didn't even know it was going to be happening on Sunday. I did see some advertisement for it. Now, for me to hear the BET Awards was going to be on broadcasted on Sunday. Yeah. All right. I ain't going to miss nothing, right? That's just how it's been the past couple of years, right? With the BET Awards or even most award shows, because at least for people like myself, folks might say, "Oh, he's just an old school head," and So when it comes to people, at least in my demographic, music has changed so drastically. What are we gonna watch the BET? There's nothing on the BET Awards for us, right? But I gotta say, looking at some of the marketing after the BET Awards, I think it was pretty good. Just looking at some of the stuff that they, were advertising afterward, it looked like it was a pretty good show. And it looked like they're trying to get back to where it was at least. So I'll say that about it. If I might have watched it had I known some of the things that I knew about afterwards. I might have watched the BET Awards. But I mean, to say where it is now and where it's been in the past, I think a lot of that has to do with the music and where the music has been. And over the years, the music is, let's be honest, most of us, even a lot of the new school heads, they'll tell you a lot of the music is trash. It's been trash. It's been a lot of trash. The hip hop, a lot of trash. Not all of it, but a good portion of it. It's a lot of trash. R&B wise, I'll say this about R&B. There's a lot of good R&B out there. You just don't hear it because commercial radio is in a whole nother direction. They're not all about R&B. They're about popular R&B, but they're not about the soul where R&B has come from. That's what's missing. Like your R. Kelly, for example. Who's doing what R. Kelly was doing back then right now? Don't say Chris Brown. No, Chris Brown isn't. And I'll say this too, right? So Chris Brown and Usher, two great artists. I'll say probably the biggest R&B artists out there today. Now Usher, in my opinion, is probably, they're both Usher and Chris Brown. They're both R&B. I think Usher's music is a little bit more soulful than Chris Brown. I think Chris Brown is a little bit more on the popular side. But I heard this guy, Ray Daniels, and I'm going to talk to Silos about this. Ray Daniels said, and I forget which podcast I was listening to it when he said this. He said that the one thing about Chris Brown, what's missing with Chris Brown, he doesn't have that Confessions album like Usher. And I think he's telling the truth. I think that's real. Chris Brown does not have a Confessions album. He doesn't. He doesn't have that album where you can go back and say, "Oh, I love this song by Chris Brown." You probably don't remember which album it's from. He's got so many different albums, and he doesn't have one album where you could just put on and let it play. At least in my opinion. Don't get me talking. I know people, he's an old head. He's an old head. But listen, I'll tell you one thing. No matter what, music is music, no matter what age you are. Music is music. Good music is good music. I don't care if you're 12, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Music is music, right? But there's a different quality at certain ages, So when it comes to that, again, I agree with him. I say Chris Brown needs an album that is on the level of a Confession. He does not have an album that you could go back and say, man, yeah, that's that album right there. Oh man, you could just put that in. For example, when Jodeci first came out with that album with Forever My Lady on it, that album you could just put in and let it play, right? You can do that with Confessions. R. Kelly has multiple albums like that. Michael Jackson's Thriller, you could say that. Off the Wall album, you could say that about a lot of different artists that had quality albums. You could just throw them in and let them roll just like that, All right, so this is what we're going to do right now. Looks like my special guest is here, and we're going to bring him up real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together and welcome my brother, from another mother. His name is C-Los. Give it up for him one time.
See, Los, what's the deal? Most in Boston would just say Carlos.
Hey, you
What's the
know what?
deal?
And you know what? I actually let it slip. I said that, and I said I caught myself non-Celos. I'm not gonna put his government out there, but you said it first, so it's okay now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let
How
me
you doing, man?
I'm good. So I'm at the studio. I'm trying to see if you all see what I see.
Oh, that's Ed OG. Shout out to Ed OG and the Bulldogs from Boston.
Absolutely.
What else you got up there? That looks like the Beatles. Hold up, let's go over this real quick, man. Since you
All right,
showing
let me see. So
that's
this
the
is
Ed OG
where,
album, right? Is that the
yeah.
Beatles? You got the Beatles. You got classic Beatles. Al Green. Um, yeah. So right before I brought you on,
So
man, I
this area is the common place. Of course, it's not my place. It's one of my business partners has a rehearsal hall slash backline. It's one of the premier backline companies here in Atlanta. So let me do this real quick, so you all can know the level of what goes on. And I'm gonna
and
get
by
to it.
the
So
way, man, you looking like a star already, man.
this wall right here. Oh yeah. So this wall here, as you see, it's where most artists that have been here um, put their music, or what you call it, playlists when they go on tour.
Hmm.
As you can see, it's all through the whole place. Um,
So they come there, they rehearse, they got their playlist for
right,
rehearsals. Okay.
playlist rehearsal. So what
So
happens is after they do their rehearsals here, um, you'll see different drummers for like Akon and different people will put their drum piece up there just to say, hey, we've been here. So
got
I'm going to tell the story on why I decided to come over here. This is where I shoot my podcast. And actually, this is the room. It doesn't look anything like how the podcast is set up, but this is just one of the rehearsal location. It's called Stage Audio Productions here in Atlanta.
it. Okay, I was gonna
And
ask you
there's
what part.
another room. It's in Scottsdale, Atlanta, but that's Decatur, a short room called. You ever heard him say Decatur wears greater?
Hmm.
Uh-huh. So here's another wall. Um, I just decided to come over here to kind of be in the space so you'll understand the level of what people have to play at.
Right.
So
So
this is all right. There you got it. So
so
your
so
question.
so talk to me about some of the artists that have rehearsed there, that have done some of the work there. For example,
Oh man, it's a lot. I mean, um, shoot, you name it. Ti, SOS Band, Patti LaBelle. Um, I mean, you name it. Jermaine Dupri, any and everybody. Diddy, New Edition, Music Soul Child, Carrie Hilson,
man. Okay.
Beyonce. I mean, you name it. It's this is just a premier location for rehearsing, but slash TV stuff. They shoot some stuff out of here for BET and other networks. So I decided to be in this space because it goes along with who I am,
Right.
and what I need to do and the environment that I need to be around to be creative. I mean, from Outkast to Goody Mob to Andre 3000, like when he did his new album with the flute and all of that music, he rehearsed here. In fact, his PM production manager, he's one of the business owners of this place. So Andre, being in this space, anyone could pop up depending on what they're doing, whether it's Sexy Red, I mean, Lauren Hill, whoever it is. This is what they do. But I'm in this environment because one of my partners is a owner. He's the president of it, right? So what you do is you just do your best to be around that environment where you can be creative and see that there's a next level for yourself, and not necessarily. Um, I heard someone say it like this: I see CeeLos with such and such. I don't view it that way, right? I view it like such and such is with me because that's in fact what it is. Um, so if I'm around this environment and say someone from Boston um, finds out I'm around, they'll be like, "What you doing here?" I'm here because this is who I am. You
Right.
following me?
Hmm.
So the section of me being in this environment and wanting to do the interview in this environment was to kind of send a message of whatever you're trying to do, be in the environment. If you're not in the environment, consider yourself out the game. That's like if you're going to play NBA basketball and not overseas basketball, guess what you have to do? You have to be around people in the NBA and not just people from overseas. So you go where that level of play is at, opposed to going where you feel comfortable at.
Hmm. Okay. So I want to come back to that because I want to, one of the questions I do want to ask you is about entertainers in Boston. How easy it for them making it out of Boston and becoming successful. So I want to come back to that because you answered part of that question. You have to be around certain people. You got to be in that environment. So I want to come back to that. But I want folks to really get to know you didn't just pop up there out of nowhere. So for those who don't know CeeLos,
Right.
let me just say this. There was a group back in the day called The Finest Hour out of Boston, produced by Larry Wu, the late Larry Wu, rest in peace, and Gordon Worthy, who I believe is still in Boston. So I want folks
It's
to, I want
still
to show
living.
them. Yep, he's still
Yeah.
here.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Gordon. Folks, I want you to see this. I don't know what year this is, but I know it's Soul Train. Let me just run it for the audience real quick.
Welcome four very talented young men as they join us to do their latest single on the Polydor label. The song is entitled Make That Move, and they are Finest Hour.
I want to advance you, girl. So I tried to kill myself. But I had to get next to you, girl. Before anyone else can make that move.
Back in the day. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You muted me.
No, I did not mute you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. I think that's some auto stuff they got going on here. But I want to play one more clip. This is a clip from BET.
Where you first heard it, what went through your head?
I cried myself. I
Did
was
you
so
really?
happy. I felt like I accomplished something.
Yeah.
You know, I was just so happy. I just was crying. Me and my mother was sitting there. I just started crying. But it was out of joy. I was just smiling and everything. You know, I was happy. I was happy.
Me and Jamal were at the radio station.
Yeah.
The young CeeLos.
Now you look the same. I mean, they say black
Pretty
don't.
much, and I still got my hair, you know what I'm saying? I still doing what
Yeah,
I'm doing, you know.
yeah, yeah. So
God is
so
good, brother.
no doubt. So you just didn't come out of the blue, in terms of where you landed and where you are today. You're still in the industry for the most part. So talk
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, yeah. You know, my start I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead about your start.
I wanted to say where I started was Boston Youth Theater with Elaine Corey. Now in Boston Youth Theater, there was Wyatt Jackson, there was Thomas Silcott, who Wyatt is a known author, a I think he's number one on Amazon right now, but a known choreographer, had been on Broadway, off Broadway, overseas. This is Wyatt that I'm talking about. He was in the group Here and Now with Derek Patterson.
Right.
And then you had Tom Silcott, who was always on Broadway in New York as an actor. And then you had Naheem Garcia, who was in movies, but
Mm-hmm.
a slew of the best talent was brought into Boston Youth Theater. There's so many people um, so many people that came from Boston Youth Theater. Is it still blurry?
Yeah, it's a little blurry. I don't know if it's because of the location you're in, the Wi-Fi. All right, it's clearing up a little bit now. You know how that goes, man.
Okay,
We
how is it? Let me know when it's good before I
it's
start.
I think yeah, it's kind of cutting you off too. I think I don't know if it's the location of the Wi-Fi or what, but yeah, it was you were kind of skipping the beat a little bit.
Well, this showing is pretty high right now. How's it looking now?
It looks better, looks a lot better, and I'm seeing you and it's not skipping anymore. So go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. So Boston Youth Theater was with Elaine Corey. She was the director, executive producer, director of it, and it had most of the best talent in Boston that were auditioned, and they
Mm-hmm.
were in shows. So you had Wyatt Jackson, you had Thomas Silcott, you had let me see, it's so many of us, right? There
Mm-hmm.
was Naheem Garcia, who was in a lot of movies today.
Still in
So
movies, yeah.
yeah, so that's still in movies. So then from there, I went from that to coming into contact with Larry Wu through Wyatt Jackson, because I was in a group with Wyatt Jackson called Here and Now. This was before Derek and he did Here and Now. So
Mm-hmm.
I left that and got into a group with Marie Wright, who is Free,
Mm-hmm.
Debbie Tennyson, who was Cherry Bomb, radio
Sherry Bomb
personality,
in New York
and
right
then
now.
another guy in New York, and then another guy named Delphine. That dispersed, and then I went into Finest Hour. That's where Finest Hour came in. And then from there, I went a little short stint with the Funky Bunch just before Mark ended the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I came into the group as one of the Funky Bunch members.
Right.
Most people in Boston don't even know that I was a part of the Funky Bunch
Right.
because what we did is we produced songs. We were under Donnie Wahlberg's production company. We worked with John Johnson, and I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, but it was John Johnson's close music part.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name right now. I'm sorry, my brother. I know you, but I don't remember your name at the moment.
Right.
Anyhow, he from there, I left Boston, and when I came to Atlanta from Boston, let me back up. What I found that when I was in Boston, I was working in the community centers, doing the entertainment thing, component thing, bringing dignitaries or bringing WIOD because I was the van driver
Right.
of the WIOD, right? I drove the van, and I would bring other celebrities into if they came in town. I would bring them to the Boston, John Marshall, not the John Marshall. I did John Marshall, but also um, Mission Hill Community Centers at the time, and it was the Tobin Gym with Ron Bell. After that, I was like, man, I don't really want to be in Boston no more. I kept writing songs with Troy Sanders that was in Boston. I mean, that was in Finest Hour. And then I was doing stuff with the Bell Ringer. How you met the Bell Ringer, right, was through me. And
My brother.
yeah, the Bell Ringer. Uh-huh. And I still wasn't satisfied. So one day I watched something on TV, and it was a guy on TV that was a music event, And he was like, you don't have to be in front of the camera to be in the business. And I was like, oh, I don't. So then I decided to move to Atlanta. And my first focus was do an album, but also be an artist developer. And I did that over there with Marvelous McIntyre or Marvin McIntyre or
Mm-hmm.
Marvelous Entertainment.
Right.
Or excuse me, it used to be called Marvelous Enterprises.
Right.
So
Right.
I developed recording artists like Sammy, Carrie Hilson, Lloyd, so on and so forth. Whoever came through there as one of the contacts of that needed development, I worked with them in some capacity, in some sort of capacity. It could have been choreography, it could have been show development, showing what the artists what they needed to do while being on stage, or
Mm-hmm.
just doing road managing or whatever. And then I left that. And then I started working with Divine Stevens. Divine Stevens around that time, like 1999, through I worked with him for like 5 years straight. And I worked with some of the greater talent, right? I went from newer talent coming in and still being around high level talent like Goody Mob and Kelly Price and um, TLC to actually working side by side with these people.
Right.
So at working with Divine, because Divine was the well-known choreographer, artist, developer who worked with Mariah Carey, who worked with TLC, who worked with Puff Daddy at the time. Now they call him Diddy. Any and everybody that was like the it, whether it was Jagged Edge or it was 112 or whoever it was, I was involved. Many
Mm-hmm.
of those things was more behind the scenes of making sure choreographers were hired, making sure that whatever we had to do was being done right. So if
Right.
he had to go in and do some choreography, I had to make sure whatever behind the scene needed to happen. So I was in the day to day, making sure everything was operating right. And I worked very close with any project Divine worked on. Whether we had to go to New York or whether we had to be out in LA with Pink. This is before Pink was Pink today, right?
Right.
So yeah, so I worked with a whole slew of people here in the Atlanta area. And once I left that, I was more like, it's cool working with Dallas Austin. It's cool working with Tricky Stewart, but that's not my call. My call is more television, so on and so forth. I wanted to be on television. I wanted to be doing sort of movie kind of things. And I did
Right.
some little small independent movies as an actor in front of the camera. And then
Right.
I developed a show for myself where I did characters like Flip Wilson from back in the day, or like Drewski is doing today, like he's doing these characters. So I've had
Mm-hmm.
characters on top of characters. I've developed shows just for myself. And then from there, once I got in this building, I had come to this building try to figure out doing a production for myself with my family, and things were not working out with my family kind of joining in with what I wanted to do. So the owner of this building, Alfred, said, "Hey man, why don't you do a podcast?" And I was like, you know what? I've been thinking about doing a podcast for like 2 or 3 years prior to what he had said to me. And then I just molded. I said, all right, cool. I said, I'll do a podcast, but it has to be something that is me. And it's got to be able to set me up for the next thing. Not
Right.
that I want to stay being a podcaster for the rest of my life. I said, well, whatever I do, it has to touch my next flow, kind of like a chain, a linked chain. It's like you're doing this to do this, right?
Right.
So each link means something. So then that's where it landed me right now is a podcast. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's some of what
No, that's a lot of good information.
my thought
Um,
was when you asked that question. Yeah.
right. So definitely, I want to get more into the podcast. So, so the question is, right? Um, you're from Boston, so you
Yeah,
understand the talent.
definitely.
You understand the talents that's here. You understand the potential.
That's right.
What Boston is like when it comes to entertainment. So, a lot of folks think it's hard making it out of Boston. You were here, and you ended up leaving Boston to continue your journey, which obviously landed you into the podcast. We're going to get more into that, but I also think you're an example of having to leave Boston. But at the same time, I think if you're great at something, you can make it. You can make it anywhere you are in the world. But you still got to surround yourself. And you said it earlier. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people and like-minded talent in order to grow. So, so yeah. So I'm with you when it comes to that. So all in all, you would say when it comes to making it in Boston, you got to leave Boston. Is that where you stand?
Well, the best way I could say this, and there needs to be a disclaimer because what I'm about to say could cause your viewers to misunderstand what I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
The disclaimer is that you go where you need to be, where you you need to be. What do I mean by that? If you want to see a volcano erupt, are you going to be in Boston or are you going to be in Hawaii? The answer is Hawaii. Why? Because that's where volcanoes are. The thing with Boston is this: Boston has major gifts. The talent is immense. The talent is dope. There's high level of talent in Boston. The challenge is this: if you are talented in what you do, can you surround yourself with people with the same like mind that can help you get to where you need to be to stay in Boston? And this is something that I kind of fought against before leaving Boston because I was Boston and I'm still Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to find out why was it that Marvin McIntyre left Boston? Why was it that New Edition left Boston? And I know Mike lives there, but Mike does his business other places and he comes to Boston to give back to Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I think of Aerosmith, when I think of Bokeem, when I think of others that are from Boston and they leave Boston, even Free left Boston, did her thing, and I think she's back in Boston, but I believe she's going to be leaving Boston to do her thing. It has nothing to do with do we love Boston. It has to do with we don't have what New York has. We don't have what Atlanta has. We don't have what LA has, Los Angeles. We don't have that. It's not in Boston. Heck,
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Boston. There was one radio station that was black owned back when I lived there.
Mm-hmm.
And just before I left, it was sold to a whole nother company. And then it folded some years later. And that was WYOD. It came on in the morning and went off at night. And
Right.
us in Boston, we were left with back in the day 94.5 or other radio stations, or the big station for us when we were younger was Kids 108 with Sonny Joe White. God rest his soul. We
Mm-hmm.
never had a radio station. And for some reason, the market, although these other radio stations, I think it's 93.9, I mean 93.3, they have the FM dial. They're able to sell the advertisement, but when it came to black ownership and blacks owning it, the capital, the advertisement dollars were not there. Pause. That makes you say, why? How can the talent be in Boston? Still to this day, the talent is in Boston. I
Hmm.
know that. Even my counterparts know that. We all know it.
Right, right. So
But it's not there. The unfortunate part is not there. The answer, I believe, to that is it's not the market for that. It's not the place for that. It's not the area for that. And people will argue that all day. I had someone the other day say, yeah, Boston's about the bus. It's 2026.
mhm,
I'm saying you need the bus. You need the bus. Not saying Boston needs the
right.
bust. I'm saying you need the bus. I'm old. I'm older. I'm 58 years old. They've been saying that for the longest. And it ain't there. It just it ain't there. It's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just not there. And I understand it now, you know.
There's a lot of good talent here. Um, but I agree with you, right? That
Absolutely.
oftentimes
Absolutely.
you have to leave.
Absolutely.
Totally agree with you on that. But I also think it helps too if you understand the business of what you're in. Most people don't understand the business of what they're in, and it hurts them to the levels where that's their only choice. They have to leave. They have to leave because I think you can't, if you understand the business of what you're in and you know how to operate in that, I think you can make it here without having to leave and you could just travel to those people that you need to be in. Of course, I mean, after my WIOD days, I actually did that. I was back and forth to New York and even lived in Jersey City for a minute. Stayed at the Bell Ringers place there on Kennedy. But
I didn't know.
yeah, so I think understanding the business first, no matter how talented you are, understanding how it works. Because, for example, you're an artist, you have a record, you want to get it played, right? A lot of folks thinks it's just easy as handing it to someone, or he's going to support me, he's going to play. That's easy to do, but you're not going to get success from that. You got to understand the machine of that. There's a machine when you hand someone a record, you know that. And I think that's the biggest issue with independent artists. They don't understand how that machine works. When it comes to getting you. Now, if you have a good, even if you got the hottest, you can have a record that is a dope record, right? If you don't understand the machine and how that works, it don't matter how great the song is. It's not going to get played, and you're definitely going to have to leave and put yourself around somebody who understands how that machine works. So, so all in all, yes, you have to leave Boston, but if you stay here, you better understand the business of what you're in, or else you definitely not going to make it out of the city as an artist. That's my opinion. You know. Um,
Mhm.
all right, so I want to talk about a few other things too, and we could probably come back to that, man. I want to talk
But
about.
let me add this. It's very important
Mhm.
that those who live in Boston who are super gifted with what they do, whether they're an EP executive producer, whether they're a producer, music producer, whether they're a songwriter, whether they're in front of the camera as talent. What I want the takeaway to be is this: you must go where you are supposed to go. It cannot be, I'm going to stay in Boston because I love Boston. It has to be, where do you need to go? How I view Boston is it is a city of healthcare.
Champions. Just sorry,
It
just had
is
to
a
throw
city. That's right. That's right. No one can outdo in the world the healthcare market of Boston. There's nowhere in the world. There's nowhere in the world that can outdo Boston with education. There's nowhere in the world. There is no other place. It is Boston. In Boston, no one can outdo the sports teams. No one in America can outdo Boston when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to that. That is what Boston is known for. What I want the artists, executive producers, promoters, all of that. If you're trying to do what Alan Heyman did, because he started there in Cambridge, I want you to understand that Boston does not do entertainment like that. I am 58 years old. They have been saying Boston's going to bust when I was a kid. And I am saying to you that you must find where you are supposed to be. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
go through your life trying to be successful based on the location of where you are. You must go around the talent that meets the level of your talent so that you can do a wonderful things while you live as a young person because we all get old. It's not me saying, Boston can't do its thing. I'm not saying that. I know D Nice is in Boston doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? I know Cornell Brown used to be in Boston doing his thing.
CB.
What's the gentleman that used to have Nine Lane that used to have the on the gallery?
Terrell
What's his name?
Calloway.
He was a promoter, Terrell Calloway that worked with Prince. I can go on and on and on and on and on. I am telling you,
Yeah.
you must
Yeah.
find where you're supposed to be. I am not dookie on my city. I love my city. At the end of the day, if you're in music entertainment, movie entertainment, television entertainment, you must find the place that you're supposed to be working out of. There's a reason why
Mm-hmm.
Alan Heyman left Boston. There's a reason why New Edition left Boston and went to California. There's a reason for all of that. It's not to disrespect Boston. We all love Boston. There's a reason why Maurice Starr, when he was doing his thing in Boston, he left Boston and came to Atlanta. There's a reason for that. It's no disrespect Boston. We all love Boston. Period.
Mm-hmm.
We wear the caps when we're not in Boston. We wear the sneakers, the three stripes when we're out of Boston. We say Boston all day because we love Boston. We say Boston strong all day. I'm saying as a person that's been in entertainment that
Mm-hmm.
has never left entertainment, you must find where you're supposed to be. It's just the way it is. Now, if you're
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
trying to do medical, if you're trying to work inside the academic world, if you're trying to be in the sports world, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But entertainment is hit it and quit it. That means do what D Nice is doing. He lives in a different place, but he comes to Boston. He does what he has to do as a promoter, and then he bounces out and he comes back in. I'm telling you, talented people out there, it is okay to go in a different state and do your thing. Just always rep Boston. That's it. I don't want you to
Right.
spend your lifetime trying to figure out why Boston, they don't even have a radio station in Boston that's black owned. They don't even have a radio station that is dedicated to our people other than what we're on right now. You understand me?
Right. Right.
So it is what it is. The disclaimer is Silos, Carlos Munoz, Silos, what I go by. Silos is not hating on my city. I love my city.
Right.
I love my city. So I just, I'm a truth teller and I have to keep it 100 with you. It's like, hey, if you're talented, go where the talented people go, man. If you once you make it and you're a Tyler Perry, then go to Boston.
Right.
I'm still grinding. I'm still grinding. So one day I will come back to Boston and I'll set up some kind of office there in Boston. Until then, I'm gonna do what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? It's no disrespect to my home city. I would love to be at my home. Are you kidding me? Other than the snow.
I was talking about that earlier,
Yeah.
man. The weather here, man. Got some beautiful weather
No
so far,
disrespect.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are some strong
Yeah.
comments, man. Strong comments when it comes to entertainment here in Boston. So
Very
yeah,
strong.
folks.
Very
Um,
strong.
and there's a lot of talent here, and with everything you just said, just make sure you're on top of your craft as well. You got to be the best at what you're doing. You got to be great at it. You got
And
to
then
be great.
it's the mindset. It's the mindset too, Gooseby. The
Yeah.
mindset is, and we spoke briefly over the phone about this. The mindset is we Bostonians from my era, and I can only speak from my era because I left Boston in '98, which is 28 years ago. It'll be 28 years in July. We didn't support each other. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about each other. We didn't when someone what I saw. I'm not saying what others saw. I'm talking about what I saw. You know, if there was a big concert, you got to beg the bigger groups for a backstage pass or some kind of love or showing love or reaching out and saying my boy this or my homegirl's doing that. That didn't happen when I was coming up in
Mm-hmm.
Boston. I, I saw a lot of people not saying nothing, not like they knew that the talent was there, but they wouldn't come and reach out to Boston and pull Boston up. Following me? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had, you know, when the Funk Bees or the Funky Bunch, they did the Boston Strong concert after the marathon. They did the Boston Strong concert. Why couldn't the Funky Bunch be on stage?
Right.
Because Mark wasn't there, but they're world famous. I didn't understand that, but they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get on the stage. I don't understand that. You know what I mean? When I was in Boston for New Editions thing, I'm telling the story. I'm a podcaster, so if you want to get mad, get mad. I'm in Boston and I saw people I knew, and at the end of the day, they wasn't speaking to me. You hear me, Goose? But once they start seeing the people that they respected who happen to be celebrity or well known, and I'm not saying no names, then they came up to me and said, "What's up?" And then when I didn't even have no credentials, none.
Yeah.
I didn't have
Yeah.
no laminates. I couldn't, but I got in everything, and I didn't beg nobody to get in. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
Because who I am to the people that understand the work that I put in, that's Los. That's Silos. I got it, okay? I didn't have no credentials. I saw
Mm-hmm.
you. Didn't I see you at two events? I saw you at the New Edition naming of naming of when they christened the street, and I saw you at the I think it was Harvard football game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I
Yep.
didn't have I had no credentials, but people received me because they were the people that was the movers and shakers of the city, but they know my work, right? So what I'm saying is it doesn't make sense for us Bostonians not to reach back.
Right. Right.
Pull your
And
brother up,
I
bring
don't.
your brother
Right.
in, help your brother.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
want to I want to talk about that a little bit more because Boston does have that stigma of not supporting one another. You know, it's here. It's a mentality, it's an attitude. Um, I mean, let's be honest about it. But then you go to, you go to other cities, especially in the South. You can go to the South in whether it's, Georgia, whether it's the Carolinas, and the hospitality, I know where Southern hospitality comes from. That's what it is. When you go to those places, they don't have to know you. And they greet you. They smile at you. And they could tell when you're from out of town. You know, I remember being in Atlanta when I went to Atlanta for the first
Yeah.
time. It was weird to me when I was crossing the street and people were waving at me, saying hello, and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? you know, that was different for me because in Boston we don't do that. We don't do that.
No.
Um, so there is that that piece is definitely here, and it's still alive and kicking today. Where Boston's a little different when it comes to just being more open and welcoming to folks. You know, so I
Well,
understand that.
well, for me, when and remember, I've been away from Boston for a while, although I go back and forth, meaning I come and visit family. My daughter goes to Berkeley College of Music, or really Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. So I come back and forth. So I can't speak to what's really going on now.
Mhm.
I'm saying I can speak to how it was during my era. I did not see us really supporting one another. I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh man," like one time I can remember we did a show with Queen Latifah, and we're performing Finest Hour, and it sold out. Come to find out, most of the people were there for Finest Hour. So one, I caught wind that a person that I knew said, "Oh, Carlos is trying to act like he's a star." And I'm like, wow. And it was a person that I'm like, why is she saying that? First of all, the definition of star is this. If you're signing autographs, and back in the day, we were in magazines,
Mhm.
we were on TV, not just BET and not just Soul Train. We was on any TV show that was hot back in the day, right?
Mhm.
Pause. We was doing shows not only in Boston, but other cities. Some opened up for us, like After Seven opened up for us. I can go down the list, I can run it. But this young lady saw it in herself to say, he trying to act like he a star. No, no, I'm just doing me. And
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, during that era, I was a star. But she didn't see me as a star, right? So she had to say something. That's not supportive. What I found here in the Atlanta area, whether you're from the A or whether you're not from the A, they show love. If you need a backstage pass and you're already in the circle,
Mhm.
you're gonna know somebody that can bring you in and you feel your way around and do your business, whatever your business is. If you're trying to catch up with someone, if you're trying meaning a promoter or talent, or if you're trying to get with some songwriter and they happen to be at this red carpet event, or whether it's a concert or whatever, they don't hold that from you.
Right.
In Boston, they when I was coming up, they held that from you, like you're not good enough. You know, I'll tell a story, and I'm gonna put it out there because, like I said, I'm a podcaster, right? I'm here in Atlanta, and I'm doing my podcast, and I want new kids on the block on the show. So I get in contact with Donnie. I know his people, the whole nine. I go to the concert. They want me to to have tickets for the concert. And I'm like, I don't want no tickets to the concert. So I go to the show and hope to catch up with them after the show. So after the show, let me back up. I see John Knight and I see Danny Wood on stage. And they
Mm-hmm.
wave at me, yo, and John's like, yo, look at yo, Los, look at him. They point and stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So this was just after the show finished. They're on stage and they're leaving the stage, and they're like, yo, what up? So I call Donnie's people,
Mm-hmm.
and Donnie's people tell me that Donnie and them don't want to see me. And I'm like, they don't want to see me? What are you talking about? It wasn't a shot to the ego. It was like, we go way back. In fact, new Kids on the Block and Finest Hour, we did shows everywhere together.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we was in Atlanta or whether we was in Boston somewhere, and it was either we would be like, yo, who's gonna open up the show tonight? Or who's gonna close it? It was no ego, it was none of that. We were friends.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw them and the girl was telling me that Donnie's people was telling me they don't want to see me, I said, hold on, you saying that they don't want to see me? I said, hold on. You're telling me, she says, no, I'm not saying that they're not seeing anybody. I said, but I don't never see him. I'd love to see him. So lo and behold, I don't see him, but I'm back in the back where the trailers are and everything, right? Because I'm CeeLos. I'm in the back. I can knock on the trailer. But you know what I did? I left. You know why I left? Because I don't have to chase that. But that's the essence of how Boston does Boston.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that Goody Mob would have ever did that to 112. There's no way that Big Mike would have ever did that to Kerry Hilson. It would have never happened. It would have never happened. But for some reason, what we do is we keep people out.
Right.
We keep our people out.
Why is that though?
And I'm not, I don't know. I don't know why we like that. Now, I could say on the record that Ralph Tresvant's not that way, Ronnie DeVoe's not that way, Michael Bivins is not that way. I could say that because I know that they're not like that. You understand what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
don't do that. But for some reason, they're in Boston. They keep you out, man. And it's like, why are you keeping me out? I remember when we were teenagers. We came up together. You should want to see someone in this business that you've known a long time. Why? Because as you go in this business, it's hard to trust people. You don't know who to trust.
Right.
You're afraid to trust people. So when you see someone from back in the day, you're like, oh man, I loved seeing you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy that my city, the people from my city that I know, we don't do that with each other. It's
Right.
not that you're looking for you to cut a check. It's like, can we just be friends? Can we
Right.
just be friends? So, whenever I do see the new kids on the block, I have questions. There's no drama, but I do have questions like, why is it that you're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel like you have to protect yourself from me? You understand what I'm saying? I'm in the circles. You understand?
Right.
One of my best friends is Akon. So you're doing a record with Akon, New Kids on the Block, but you don't even realize that Akon's me and him are like this. So I can pull up on Akon anytime. Then what you gonna do?
Yeah.
So my point is, it shouldn't be that. It's like we're from the same area. Can we show love to each other? I ain't looking for no money. I ain't looking for nothing other than, yo, what's up, bro? Hey man, I'm doing a podcast. Podcasters most times don't get paid, right? We don't get paid to be. It's like being on a magazine television show. It's
Hmm.
more promotion for the person than it is anything else.
Right.
So if I'm saying, yo, I know them, how can I get someone that I don't know on the show and I can't get New Kids on the Block on the show? That don't make sense to me. That's crazy to me. We're supposed to help each other. So I'm going deep, right? And I'm being serious in this conversation, like I'm not ha ha hee hee. I'm like, yo, Boston, we got to stand up for each other. We got to be there for each other. We got to stop all of that. Like it don't make sense to me. If we can make money together, cool. If we can be friends together, then let's do that. But don't X people out. Why are you doing that? That don't we didn't we're supposed to be Boston strong. What are we doing that for? And I
Hmm.
hope Donnie and I hope Danny and I hope Jordan and I hope Joey and I hope John. I hope they see this because that was foul what they did. I'm Carlos. I'm Silos. I'm your friend. I don't want nothing from you but respect. That's it.
Now, do you think
Why would you?
now how long ago was that? That was
That was when they were down here last summer. Last summer.
oh,
Last
last
summer.
summer. Okay.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
recent.
It was recent.
You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And
Yeah.
and what it is we're supposed to be cool. But at this point, at this level, I don't need that kind of energy around me. I need to know who's on my side, right? Where I'm going. I can't try to figure out who's cool with me and who's not cool with me. Because the way I looked at it is we not cool. Because if we was cool, it wouldn't have been that.
Right.
You know what I'm
I was
saying?
just
I
trying.
see you
Yeah.
showing the picture. That
Yeah.
picture was
I want
Jack
people
the
to see
Rapper.
that.
I think that was 1988.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted people to see because
That was
you
compliments
go
from
back.
Troy. That was compliments of Troy Sanders. That was his photograph.
Shout out to Troy. I ain't
Hmm.
seen Troy in a long time, man. Hope everything's
Yeah,
good with you. Yeah, I wanted to
yeah,
show that because again, I just asked you how long ago. That was recent, and that photo was from way back.
right.
I mean, Jack the Rapper, they don't even do that anymore.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
Right. So
No,
there
back in
is
the day, that
history
was the
between
place to
you
be.
guys and yeah, so I get where you're coming
Oh,
from. So
many.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
I was trying to
No
trying to
disrespect. It's just like I'm not
yep,
gonna say I'm a podcaster and I can't keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Like, nah, man,
yep,
we gotta do better than that. We have to.
right, right,
We have to.
right. And
That's
then
all.
here's a picture with you back with the Funky Bunch,
With
which
the
was in
funky
the Funky
bunch.
Park in the Funky Bunch back in the day. So there's
That's
history.
right.
So you're not just griping, you know what I mean?
Nah, 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 nah.
Right, right,
No,
okay,
no gripe. My thing is, how do we bring it together? How do
right,
we bring it together?
mm-hmm,
You know,
right, wow,
that's what we have to do. All of that's got to stop, man, because the newcomers of Boston are doing the same exact thing. They
mm-hmm.
they they're disassociating. Now you disassociate when somebody's harming you, but if they're not harming you, why would you
Well,
disassociate?
well, let me say this is why all of that is bad, and like for Boston has to get rid of that stigma because here's the thing:
Hmm.
you never know where that person is going to end up. You just never know. Now,
Right.
my kids will tell you, I've always
That
taught them
part.
when they were young, especially in school. You know how when you're in high school, middle school, and you're young, and there's cliques when it comes to kids, and this person don't like that person for whatever reason. That person don't like this person, and it's kind of like that in ways in Boston, but you really should get away from that because you never know where that person is going to end up. You never know. You
Let
might
me
need a
let me
job
say
from
let
that
me say this about. I gotta say this, man, and I hope my internet is going well. Benzino, I am tired of Boston talking bad about Benzino. Let me tell you
person.
something about Benzino. It's not that I don't know him and that he doesn't know me, and I'm
Right.
just, or I know him and he knows me and I'm speaking up for him. Benzino is a strong reason why the culture of hip hop is where it's at today. I don't care what
Yeah.
nobody say. There wouldn't have been no Source magazine, no five mics, no none of that. Like y'all need to stop it. Y'all need to understand what this man did for the culture of hip hop. I don't care what you say Scott or Ray Dog or Ray Scott. I don't care about none of that. At the end of the day, whenever he's gone off this earth, he put work in. Because
They
if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't been no five mics, there wouldn't have been no magazine, there wouldn't have been a whole lot of stuff going on. Stop it.
right,
I
right.
get tired of hearing people talk negative about the man because you don't like him personally. At the end of the day, what work did he put in? He put in a lot of work. It's just the truth. Like, what do you, it's
Yeah,
like New Edition. They put the work in at the end of the day. Even New
yeah.
Kids on the Block. You can say whatever you want. At the end of the day, those boys made billions of dollars. It is what it is. And they
And
put a shine on Boston.
right. And the Source was the number one magazine in the world. The number one magazine in the world. And they
That
had a
part.
lot of and they had a lot of pull in the industry. I mean, every
Right.
major record label from Def Jam to Warner Brothers, Clive
All
Davis over. I
that.
mean, they had a lot of pull. They
All
had big
that.
pull. I mean, listen, yeah, they were it.
Here's another thing about
They
it.
were it.
He- Here's another thing about it. When he was running the source, they talked negative about him, right?
Right.
Man, he's saying this and he's saying that, and he's stopping this and he's stopping that. At the end of the day, listen, at the end of the day,
Hmm.
anybody that owns their product, their content, their magazine, their network, their TV show, their car, their house, they can do what they want to do. Why is it
Hmm.
that because Benzino was running it and decided not to rock with certain people, why is he the bad guy? They do that today. They do that at NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, and all the other networks. Okay, they will shut those people out. I heard Joe the singer saying that he got mad with Stephen Hill, who used to be an executive there at BET, and they took his trophy, his BET award away from him. Pause. So why would you get mad at Benzino because he's running a record company the way he chooses to run it? I mean, not the record company, magazine, the way he chooses to run it. And if he decides, I don't want to work with these people, we're not going to go in that direction, this is what happens every day.
Right.
This is what happens every day in business. People have a choice to work with, rock with, do business with who they choose to do business with. I just couldn't understand that. And I want Boston to stop it and just stand up for our own people. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand. Benzino did that. Like,
Right.
yeah, he invested in the source. He had every right.
Right.
I'm just saying, I don't get it. I don't understand it. From a
I
person
mean,
that's in business, I'm like,
in
I
timing,
don't get it.
yeah, and timing was everything. I mean, you talk about the first hip hop magazine, right? Built from the ground up, right out of Boston. You know,
That part.
um,
That part. At the end of the day, when he leaves this earth, his history is the source. And I
right,
think they were the first ones that came out with a record in Boston.
right,
Pause. I don't. I, what I'm saying is I don't understand it. And I'm saying Boston, for the young people, what we got to do is bring these young people together, and even those who are not young. Like, can we like work together?
yeah,
Can we stop the not working together? I don't mind helping people. I don't mind showing up for people. You know what I'm
right,
saying? But
right.
let it be that we're doing our best to work with each other. When New
Hmm.
Edition was in town for the street naming, I was only there for my daughter because she was doing her first year. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna stay because I'm gonna stand up for these brothers because no matter what people might say, they don't come around or whatever they saying, like they did that. They
Right.
shined the light on Boston, period. Like they're legends, period. Why wouldn't I stay in Boston to celebrate these brothers for all the stuff that they did and and all the challenges they've had in business that they're finally getting recognized in 2025 in the city they was born and raised.
Still setting
That
trends.
makes you pause. Still
And
setting trends.
right.
Period. Like
And
who am I to say I
and
ain't
listen,
going to that? I don't care about them. They ain't never did nothing.
and I'm
Man, get
not
out of here with all of
and
that.
I'm not trying to get in their pockets, but still making millions at this stage of
Yes,
the
they're doing
game.
their thing.
At
That's
this
right.
stage of the game, and gaining new fans on top of that. Because I tell you, their concert here when I was at,
Right.
at that
Right.
show, one TD Garden was sold out, and there was people there that followed me, and I followed them, and these are folks from different cultures. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you was a New Edition fan like that. And maybe they were from day one, but I think they're gaining a lot of new fans just because of their history and who they are, man. You know,
It is what it is, man.
they were
You know what I
special back
mean?
then, and they're still special in 2026, man.
And they're
Yeah,
gonna be they're gonna be forevermore. They're like the
right.
Temptations, or they're like Smokey Robinson. These guys are who they are, and I'm not gonna pause at all. And I'm gonna say the same thing about New Kids on the Block. The
Hmm.
the understanding is that they did it. They did what so many people wanted to do.
Hmm.
That so many people are still trying to do. Like they did it. We got to stand up for that. Period. We got to stand up for that. And from what Ed OG, like Ed OG is a professor at Berkeley. Like stand up for that.
Wow, I
You
didn't
know
know
what I
that.
mean?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. He's a professor over at Berkeley.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
One
dope.
one of the instructors. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Billy and Bobby, who are hip hop dancing icons, legends.
Hmm.
I don't get how we Bostonians don't embrace our people and cheer them on. Like
Hmm.
cheer me on. I'm gonna come back with the when I left Boston, I was like, yo, when this thing really happens, one of the first things I'm doing is I'm going back to Boston to help.
Hmm.
And I know just about just about everyone that's from Boston that has done something out
Right.
of Boston. Even Big Chuck. Big Chuck worked with Michael Jackson for what? I think he told me 10 years. And then Big Chuck is involved in, I mean, a lot of people don't even know Big Chuck is the one that found um Shade, what's his name?
Was it Eminem?
Eminem. He's the one that found him. It wasn't the other people. It was Big
Right.
Chuck. Pause. Like I don't understand us Bostonians. We gotta like stand up for our own because me being in Atlanta as a transplant, they've accepted me. Accepted them. But on a stronger note, they accept their own. And we have to do the same.
Hmm.
If you hear that someone, as you continue to rise up this ladder of success, if you hear someone that you know that's from Boston is knocking on your um, dressing room or trying to reach out, at least try to find out something what they're trying to do. It doesn't
Hmm.
mean you're going to do business with them. It doesn't mean you're going to stay around them long, but you can show love. You understand what I'm saying? And what we don't do is we don't show love from what I've seen. Remember, this is my point of view. It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
someone
Well,
else's point of view.
I agree
You
with
know,
you. Again, I think Boston just has that stigma here that we don't support one another the way we should when it
the
comes
way
to
we
music.
should.
We're separated when it comes to that, and that has to
And
change.
even people, take this off too. People talk stuff about Maurice Starr or the Johnson family. Let me tell you something. If it were not for Maurice Starr, his mama, his daddy, his brothers, there wouldn't be a whole lot of stuff in music entertainment. Don't get it twisted. I'm not just saying New Edition and New Kids on the Block. I'm talking about the meat of the entertainment business, period. So all of the disrespect of family members, I say, because we're all family from Boston, right?
Hmm.
That's got to stop. It's got to stop because there wouldn't be so many careers if there wasn't something that Maurice and his brothers did. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying? There's no disrespect to the people that been disrespecting him. I'm saying we got to stop that. We got to stop it.
yeah. But that's also the
We
problem,
we got to defend our people.
right? That's also the problem as a whole. Um, Not just in Boston, but in the music business as a whole, especially
That
when it
too.
especially when it comes to new artists, because I
That
think
too.
one of the biggest problem with new artists, they don't respect or know the history before them, the people before them. They don't understand that. So you
That
got a
part.
lot
And
of
I
artists,
did research.
right? You
Yep.
got a lot of artists just doing their thing and thinking their thing is it. And a lot of these new artists, I think it was Eric Sermon said that now Eric Sermon is still doing shows, getting paid, publishing money and
Doing
doing
his
shows,
thing. Yeah.
doing his thing because the music he did back then from EPMD and Eric Sermon is music that we still enjoy and we can play in the club and it's not offensive. You know what I mean? So he talked about these new artists doing all the songs where they're not going to be able to eat 10, 20 years down the road because parents won't be able to play those songs in front of their kids. You know what I mean? Then you're not going to be able to enjoy that music because of the content of the music. You're not going to be in your 40s or 60-year-old talking about some of the stuff a lot of the content is talking about today. So now I don't want to we're running a little short on time, so I do want to talk about your podcast because that's one of the things you're doing now.
Okay.
Um, and it's a very good podcast. I had the opportunity to check out some of the episodes, but let me just give the folks a little something about what you're doing right now.
Season 1 was just the beginning. We've had incredible conversations, shared powerful stories, and brought real, unfiltered moments to the mic.
If you simply keep vibrating at the frequency that you have been given capacity to vibrate at, no one will be able to pin you down.
From inspiring
Just was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. That is a big thing in the world, but also in the world of music making. What was it like internally for you? Not just hearing it, but what was it like for you once it came down that it's not a nomination anymore. You're inducted. When you heard that,
It's waves, but it's all of it matters. The
That's your podcast that you're doing now. It's called If You Don't Know, Now You Know. And that guest you had there was Tricky Stewart. He's a big time producer, did Beyonce, did a lot of big records. So I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but how'd you transform into doing the podcast?
I had decided to do something that would set me up for the next play. It's like an alley oop.
Right.
You hear 50 Cent, when 50 Cent's be talking about certain people in the game, he's actually talking about them for an alley oop to them so that they can get back in the game. So when I did the podcast, I said I need an alley oop for the next thing that I'm going to do. But if I was going to do a podcast, it had to be authentically sound to who I am, where I can ask the right questions and get really good answers. So my podcast is not really about the accolades. It's more about what the person's dealing with in life, whether with family, whether with children, wife, husband, if they're a woman, so on and so forth. So most of our conversation is not about the accolades, the Grammys or the um, Emmy or any of that. We want to talk about how did you do it? with all the crazy stuff that you've been through,
Mm-hmm.
how was you able to get through and shine through to be the person that you are today, whether making money, whether buying a great home, whether helping other people, whether opening up a new studio, a television studio, or whether you're mega church preacher, what it's been like for you when you're being talked down about and all you're trying to do is God's business. What is it like for you? And that's really where I kind of fell into it. I just didn't want to do a podcast that was like everybody else's,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the accolades. And most times when I get the celebrity talent or the high end executive or whoever they are, what they do for business, I always tell them I want them to tell us how they did it. And we're not going to be focused so much on the accolades. And 9 out of 10 times, what I get is I love the concept. I want to do the show. I love the concept. I want to do the show because there's so many podcasts out there that are not doing what we do. And that's why it's called If You Don't Know, Now You Know,
Mm-hmm.
because they tell these stories that you wonder about. You know what I'm saying? Like Raouf, that was a part of the SOS band. He
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be in the Commodores, but he turned. Raouf is the band leader of the SOS band, right? The
Mm-hmm.
legendary SOS band. In the interview, he tells the story. I was first in the Commodores,
Mm-hmm.
but I turned them down because they all went to school. Some went to Albany and some went to Tuskegee, right? So he was a well-known saxophonist, trumpetist, and all of the other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he got into that band after he turned down the Commodores.
Commodore. Right.
So the
Wow.
story is, if you don't know, now you know that
Right.
he was in the
I love that.
Commodores before he
I
was
love
in the SOS band.
it.
You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
goes on and tells the story about why he didn't miss the bus the second time because he had a family.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I didn't know what I was thinking. Man, I don't know why I wouldn't get in the Commodores. And that thing haunted him. He said it haunted him. So he
Right.
said, once the next thing came around, he was not going to miss the bus.
Right.
So the essence of that story was young people, if you're even my age and you're still trying to make it, whatever it is you're trying to do, don't give up. Think about what you're going to do before you do it and make the right decisions for you and your family.
Right.
Following me?
I follow you. I follow you on that. Now you had some very popular. Actually, I haven't seen anyone that wasn't popular or in the industry. You had Ray Daniels on not too long ago,
Oh,
and
yeah, Ray Daniels.
yeah, I spoke about Ray just a little bit earlier because he had mentioned something. He was talking about R&B artists out today. Chris Brown being one of the top R&B artists, of course. Now his R&B is different to me, but one of the things that Ray said that caught my attention, which I agree with him on, he said that Chris Brown doesn't have that Confessions type album yet, and he needs that to really to solidify.
Mm-mm.
You don't agree with that?
Well, no, 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 no. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two things I'm speaking from an artist development position
Mm-hmm.
now. So what Ray is saying, he is right that he doesn't have the Lauryn Hill record,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or
Yeah.
album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
She did one album and she's still moving with it, right?
Classic album.
Confession, right? It's a classic. Um, and 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 there are artists that come around like that. The
Mm-hmm.
difference, though, for me, is what Usher sells versus what Chris Brown sells. It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I think of Usher and I think of Chris Brown, I think of dancing like Chris Brown is, I love Usher, don't get me wrong, but he
Mm.
cannot touch Chris Brown when it comes to that stage, period.
I agree with you on that.
And everybody knows it.
Right.
That's what Chris, that's what Chris sells. What Usher sells is the records. That's
Hmm.
what he sells. Although Chris sells records, right? But he don't have the record like Tracy
Lauren Hill.
Chapman. What's that
Right.
song that everybody no, I'm saying Tracy Chapman. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That song will forever be implanted in our mind as a Tracy Chapman record, even though the newer artist, the white guy, the big white guy, did a remake with Tracy Chapman singing on it, right?
Hmm.
We will forever know Usher as the song name. We will forever know Chris Brown as the guy that's on the stage. I
Hmm.
don't think to this day, right now, I don't think there's anybody that can touch Chris Brown on that stage. Period.
Mm.
It's just the way he does what he does. And that's listen. I'm not talking negative about Usher and the
Hmm.
dancers and the artistic directors of. I'm saying hands down, Chris Brown is like the Michael Jackson of our day on that
Hmm.
damn stage. And
I
that's what he's so he's right. Ray is right that he don't have the, but I don't know if he needs that because after the records, what do? Perform. At the end of the day, I seen
right.
Charlie Wilson performing. He wasn't doing so well after the stroke, but I see him performing because
Mm.
after the records, you're performing.
You're performing. Yeah. Chris Brown will
And
definitely
I
be
can't
able to
wait to
perform.
see Usher and I
Yeah. Yeah. The show.
perform.
Right. On
And
stage.
Usher too. I'm not dissing Usher because Usher can go too. Like I'm not doing that neither. Usher is the man when it comes to performing. I'm not saying he ain't. I'm just saying at the end of the day, what Chris Brown pushes is totally stage. Period.
Hmm.
That's his push from my perspective. And I could be wrong. Maybe he does want to see a Confessions album. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Hmm.
I
So
don't
so
know.
so let me ask you this question, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. You've done a lot of different interviews on the podcast. What's one of your favorite interviews? And I know for what that wasn't a. I thought you was gonna say me. I'm not trying to put it to you like that, but
I think all of them have a perfect moment. Every last one of them, I learned something for myself, and my hope is that the viewers who watch learn something for themselves, and then those that I speak to in the interview, they learn something for themselves
hmm.
from me. Here's what I remember that draws really a concern for my life is when Cujo Goody of the Goody Mob says you have to have a short memory. And then he kept talking. I said, hold on, 1 second. Let me ask you a question. What do you mean when you say you have to have a short memory? He said, because in this business, people are going to do something to you that you don't like. They might steal your money. They might not pay you what they owe you. They might do something crazy to you. And if you stay on that, it's going to hold you back. And then
Hmm.
he went, and then he went on to say, it's like playing football. You got several games that you got to play. You lost that game, but you got another game coming up. You can't do nothing about that game back there. You
Right.
got to do something with the game you're going to. So he says, so what happens and what he has seen in the business, and I think they came out in what, 92, 93, or something like that, or maybe 95. He said in his time, he has found that people get caught up in what somebody did to him. It might be a promoter, it might be somebody in your family, it might be something crazy that happened to you. And if you can't get past that, you don't know what you're going to get to next. And I was
You're as
like,
good as your
wow, I
last.
didn't look at, huh?
You're as good as your last game, or your last run, or your last song, your last interview. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. That's
Right.
right. We've been hearing that for years, but the way he articulated it
Right.
is superb. When he said what he said, I was like, wow, I never looked at it quite the way he looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many of those that I have been able to have on my podcast that have said some amazing thing. I got the first black NFL coach coming on, Colette Smith, and all the ladies and men who have been victimized, sexually victimized.
Mm-hmm.
This is a must podcast that you need to watch.
Right.
This woman was the first black NFL coach, but her story to get into that is an amazing story.
Right.
It's an amazing story. This week coming on Wednesday, we will release Pastor Dr. Creflo Dollar, which is a megachurch preacher here in Atlanta, but he's known on every continent as one of the leading ministers of our day. And I sit down with him because over time he has been known to have controversy in his life with money, with members, and being arrested, going
Mm.
to jail.
All
And
right.
I had a chance to sit down with him and talk about his life with him with no holds bar. And I do that to all of them. Anybody that's on my podcast, I don't give them leading questions. They just must show, and we have the conversation. So it's fully unadulterated, it's fully off the cuff, it's fully not pre-taped or any of that. They don't know what I'm going to ask them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to know because I want it to be authentic conversation. So I
Mm-hmm.
would strongly encourage your listeners to log on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing because our podcast is not like other people's podcasts. We don't
Mm-hmm.
we don't talk about people negatively about people. We don't talk about what Diddy did. We don't talk about none of that stuff. That's not what we're here for. What we're here for, and maybe one day we'll have Diddy once he comes out of being incarcerated, and we don't know when that is. We know what they say he's going to come out, but if he comes on our show, it is a place where we talk about who he is and not what they have heard
Mm-hmm.
about who a person is. And that's what we do. But we got some powerful ones coming, man, this season. We got some powerful ones coming, man. We got Morel Presley, who was a leader in the Crips LA gang.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Morel has a barbecue shop that he used to have in Boston, but he now moved from Boston and set up shop here. But he tells his story, man. He tells what it was like being in that gang and
Right.
why he's not in that gang anymore. And he's
Mm-hmm.
very successful now.
Okay. All
But we
right.
got a lot, man. We got a lot of them coming up. I
All
just
right. So
want people to lock in.
all right. So we got to wrap it up shortly. Real quick though, when does the podcast air?
It airs this it's on now. So you can
Yep.
go on YouTube right now and you can watch. We got 16 episodes on there right now, and we got another 11 that's going to drop in the coming weeks.
Right.
Yep, we
Okay.
got quite a few, man.
And that's if you don't know, now
If
you
you
know.
don't know, now you know. But
That's
it's
the name of the podcast.
acronyms. So
Right.
just take the letter of each word. If you don't know, now you know podcast. And look
Right.
for CLOS, C hyphen LOS.
All right.
And I want to apologize. This was a serious conversation. I really like to smile. I really like to tell jokes and stuff.
Hey,
But it was a serious conversation,
and we
man.
could go
You know.
all day, man. There's so much more to talk about. One more thing before I let you go though. The BET Awards was on this Sunday. I hadn't watched the BET. I didn't even see it this Sunday, but we talked about it briefly. Clive Davis passed. Clive Davis was the big
Oh
executive
yeah, man.
running Arista Records. A lot of major artists from Santana, Whitney Houston. There's kind of mixed emotions when it comes to Clive Davis from people in the business. Although he's responsible for a lot of big artists such as Whitney Houston. I want to bring this up before we wrap it up. And this is even going to be a longer conversation, so we probably have to do this again some other time. But when artists pass away, man, you know, such as Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, that list goes on, Phyllis Hyman, it goes on from way, you know, decades and centuries ago. When artists pass away, who takes over their catalogs? You know, who owns
We
what?
already know what that is.
Yeah,
The
and
record
so
companies.
this is yeah, it's a much longer conversation because this is why there's mixed emotions when it comes to Clive Davis, because executives like Clive Davis he died with like $900 million or something like that. You know, from what I hear.
See,
So
the issue with that, man, is the artist. Even myself, I was an artist with Fine Style.
mhm,
What I did wrong is after the years that I signed over, I didn't go get my voice back. Meaning anything with my voice on returned back to me.
mhm,
What artists don't do is they don't fight to go get their voice back. Because if you own your voice, when I say your voice, I mean your voice. I'm talking about your actual voice.
mhm.
If you don't go get your voice back after I think it's 25 years or 30 years, however long that you sign it over, if you go back and get it, then they can't keep your money because it's your voice.
Mhm.
But what most artists don't do, like me, like so many artists, they don't go fight to go get their voice back. You know, I know George Clinton is now um, leading the way to get his voice back, and I think he wants a lot of other artists to kind of walk with him to get their voice back because
I
the
think
record
I think
company
that
knows that after the 30 days, 30 years, they're supposed to give it back.
after 30 years.
I think it's 30 years.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
It
So
depends on the contracts.
yeah, so when artists pass away and you look at Whitney Houston, where did all that money go? If I'm not mistaken, it went to Clive Davis. I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. I know when Prince passed, Prince owned his catalog, but when he passed, I believe all of it went back to Warner Brothers. You know, in the same thing with Michael Jackson. We all know what he owned. He pretty much owned Sony Records, and when he passed, everything went back to Sony, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So it just makes you wonder, you know.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle. It was in court and stuff. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
but you're right. It did.
yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we can go on. That's a whole nother show, man. And I may
Yeah, man.
we'll talk later and
That's
we
a
can
whole
bring
nother
you
show,
back.
man.
Yeah, man. But listen, man. Thank you for coming on. It was
I didn't. I thought we was gonna be on here for 4 hours, man.
man. Listen, I wish, I wish, man. But thanks for coming on with me today, man. A lot of good information, and great comments, man. When it comes to entertainment here in Boston, man, and you were on point with so much of it, man. Thank you again, my brother.
Boston, stand up, man. Don't be mad at your boy. I love Boston.
D-Los,
I don't get
D-Los
don't get mad with me.
doing big things, man. Keep doing that work, and much success to your daughter too, man, who's attending Berkeley, man. She's a star, man. You heard it from me first. She's a star.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely, man. Simone is the girl, is the woman.
Right.
Simone, keep going, girl.
All
As
right.
all my kids,
All right.
Keto and Saina. One love, man.
Yep. Yep.
Thanks
That's
for spending
CeeLo.
time with me.
That's CeeLo's from Finest Hour. I'm gonna leave you with this. Check this out.
The group is called Finest Hour. They're brand new. They're out of Boston. It's a pleasure to welcome you guys to Video Soul.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for being here, man. This is great. You guys are so excited. It's so good, you know, when you see new acts come on the scene, and it's like this is all very exciting for you, isn't it? To have a record out and hear it on radio stations across the country.
Very
Most
exciting.
exciting thing, well, first time we heard it was last week. First time we heard it on the radio in Boston, our hometown.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
On what radio station?
WILD.
Wow, radio.
Breaking the record. Say hi to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the local acts in Boston get a lot of support from radio?
Well, it's hard for local acts in Boston to make it. You know, I guess a lot of radios in Boston, since it's so competitive in Boston, they're really strict about.
Yeah, and we touched on that earlier in the broadcast, man. We'll chop it up and we'll put it out there. Thanks again, CeeLo, man. Do your thing. We'll chop it up soon, brother.
Like, subscribe, and share to the podcast. If you don't know, now you know.
All right. Peace, my brother.
One love.
All right. We out. You're listening to the Urban Heat. Here's some R&B vibes for you.